Okay guys, I'm doing something a little bit different this time. I've decided to take the community redraw and do some splash art illustrations with it. So it's set outside of all the universes. So the first design is by Shazin and it is Anarcha H-string, a female demon, and its species is a conceptual demon. It says here, don't ask the age of the demon, don't ask a lady or demon about her age. And for this one, I set off with some concept, kind of like thumbnails. So with any splash thing, to get an idea of the composition and the pose, I kind of had a few thumbnail bits done. And after I found one that I thought suited the personality of the character, I decided to then start with the line work. So I started refining things a bit more, taking all the elements from the original design, which was actually really detailed and quite a nice design. I quite like the pose, the attitude, and just the whole, almost like rock punk style design to this. So I decided to take the pose, add all the elements into it, and hopefully I've captured the whole kind of essence of the character, which is what I was trying to do with this one. I'll tell you a bit more about the actual submission. So the lore for this one is a demoness born from humanity's desires to rebel against their oppressors and challenge authority. She's known as Hell's troubled child. Her only rule is that there should be no rules, and she only seeks to topple all hierarchy, governments and forces of order and authority, be they from heaven, hell or earth. Her 8-string electric guitar, which she lovingly named Riot, is actually an extension of her own soul and body that can exist separately from her main body. She has existed for as long as the desire for rebellion existed in humanity, and has had several different forms and names, this being one of the latest. As her name suggests, she is the true embodiment of lawlessness and anarchy, a rebel without a cause. She doesn't care if a government is benevolent or malevolent. As long as it symbolises a group of people having power over another group, she'll try to burn it down to ashes. As you can guess, her personality is rude, crude, pompous, apathetic, foul-mouthed, selfish, arrogant, overdramatic, and a flashy drunkard who indulges in every kind of sin imaginable just to stick it to the man. She is willing to hold contradictory beliefs and values at the same time just to offend different authority groups. She absolutely revels in chaos and anarchy, and no, I don't mean to use those words as fancy replacements for evil. I mean specifically chaos and anarchy. Her moral compass is entirely defined by who holds power over who. If good people hold power over evil people, she'd be evil. And if evil people held power over good people, it'd be the opposite. She'd be classed as good. She takes no orders from anyone and always marches to the beat of her own drums, which is usually beating at a fast, neck-breaking blast beat accompanied by wild and exciting electric guitar riffs. Now, what I quite liked about this was not only the details, but the colours. So the original design had a quite nice balance with the red devilish skin and the pointy tail, the chains, the zips, the kind of spiked collar and kind of like bracelets on her arm, as well as having the whole guitar with her and the pose. I quite liked having the pose with kind of like the guitar hand kind of like symbol and that. So for this one, I wanted to kind of emphasize that a bit more. And I decided to stick her tongue out, so she's kind of like giving a bit of rebelliousness. I wanted to capture the essence in her eyes, kind of like she's defiant at the same time. Have most of the details from this one. I will apologise, I didn't quite get all the details from the shirt on, which is kind of details that are on the guitar behind her head. But hopefully I've captured the main essence. Now, doing things differently in the splash art pose, I kind of worked on some of the lighting elements, as you might have seen earlier on. So after I got the initial line art done, I decided to work on doing the lights and shadows to give the whole composition of the piece a go, which is why I zoomed out quite a fair bit on this. It's a good trick to have, and it works really well. And after that was done, I kind of used those shadows as an extra layer on top of everything after I've done the flats to give an idea of the lighting that was going to be done with the lights and shadows from the normal process. I think this helps push the piece a bit more. There's not really much else to say on this, but I hope you like how Anarcha H-string turned out. Okay, next up we have Dandy from Venice Tired. They don't have an age for this demon, and as before, I started out with a few thumbnail designs. Kind of worked on this one and kind of did a bit of posing that. It was a bit difficult to try and find something dynamic from such a quite nice, vibrant coloured piece to start with. I kept the same process, but I'll give you a bit of information about the demon while the line art's going on. A 10-foot tall humanoid demon moth. Despite most of his origins shrouded in mystery, it was once a feared entity that had slaughtered many and craved nothing but power. That was until it was blinded by a powerful light, causing him to lose the memories of his past life. Then he worked alongside humans after saving a group under attack from a horde of demons. That particular group took him in and gave him the name Dandy. Pheromone production, a poisonous red gas that Dandy expels out of his mouth. When inhaled, it starts off with disorientation and blurring of the mind. Later on, a stinging feeling of pain starts rushing throughout the body, slowly killing the host. Has a camouflage ability because of the ability to change the colours of the body, which is why I quite like the vibrant colour effect of this one. It's got voice mimicry, so it's capable of human communication, and it can perfectly copy the voice or any noise that it hears, which is quite a scary thing for a demon, so I'm glad he's lost his memories. Heightened senses. He has a better sense than most humans or other demons, makes him extremely aware of his surroundings and knows when an enemy is close by. And he's got a hypersonic screech, which is a scream that emits a powerful sound wave of high intensity. The impact this leaves on Dandy can cause him to lose his voice. Because of this, he uses the ability in very rare occasions. There are a few extra notes. So he's called Dandy because of how he's handy dandy in combat. He's got sharp teeth and claws and can bite a cut through any kind of metal. He has a barbaric and messy fighting style, never willing to hold back when it comes to ripping and tearing apart his opponent, although on some occasions he will carry his foes off and drop them from a high altitude. Very agile and has great instincts, making him dodge attacks with ease. The weaknesses are fire, water, electricity, overthinking things too much, and doubt. Now, I quite like the original design of this, and it was done so well, there wasn't really much else I could do to tweak the concept of the design for this demon. Finding a pose was a bit tricky because of the large wings. Getting them to work or kind of like curve round, I tried on a couple of the original concepts, but in the end, I wanted to just go with one that was kind of similar to the original pose, but facing the other direction, and having focus on some of the colours, but also having kind of like the clawed hand kind of in front of him and then giving him kind of a domineering pose, seeing as he is quite a large and berserk type demon in its fighting style. I did enjoy doing all the colours on this one, which was great, and working with the lighting on some of them was a little bit tricky. There was a massive amount of detail in this, similar to the first one, so I picked out all the key elements and hopefully I've got enough to make this one stand out. And as I say, I went for a splash style illustration, so the whole background kind of ties in, the lighting, and then after I kind of got that in place, I started working on my normal process of building up the shadows bit by bit and building up the layers. I really did enjoy doing this one. It was a bit tricky to do for the concepts time, so it took a little while to do. But all in all, I think I captured the true essence of this character. I kind of like the whole anime feel from it, not to mention the general concept and design and the backstory was really cool. A demon forgetting its kind of evil roots and becoming a good guy as such by saving someone from demons just on instinct of this danger was quite a nice concept. Yeah, so I hope you enjoy how this one turns out. Okay, the last one that we have here is by Galahad19, and it is Stalker Rodif. And I hope I said that name right. Basically, again, I started with the concepts, but I didn't really get too far into these. I think I got about 7, almost 8 done, and then I kind of picked the design I wanted. And I'll give a bit of background on this demon before I actually go into why I picked this pose. So the notes here, or the lore that was sent in, says, its name is Stalker Rodif, a demon that takes the form of a scrawny hooded figure. It doesn't stand out too much from the crowd, while at the same time imposes fear on the victim that it chose. Preferring to lurk in the shadows, stalking its victims for days or even weeks on end, sometimes appearing in the corner of the victim's eye, relishing in the fear. And when the demon is ready, he appears to his victim and assumes his true form. The ragged cloak he's wearing, tearing away into dozens upon dozens of tendrils. He grows an extra 3 feet in height and body mass, with a gaping hole appearing in his chest and a set of razor-sharp teeth within. Stalker Rodif would then bind its victim with fabric like tendrils, strong enough to crush bone. The demon would treat its prey like a rag doll, bending its body in an unnatural and painful position while strangling the last screaming breath out from the carcass. Once the victim's dead, this demon will eat every last scrap of the corpse without leaving so much as a trail of blood or any stains anywhere. Where this demon refrains from making too much of a scene, however, if someone tries to fight or trap this entity, it will then go into an uncontrollable rage, attacking everything around it. The demon can produce a bat-like sonar. That way, no one can sneak up on it. And with its tendrils, it can fend off dozens of attackers at once. Stalker Rodif is not without weaknesses, though. Like most demons, it has a vulnerability to silver, and its sonar can be disrupted by certain frequencies. So this was actually a really cool design for a demon, and I quite like the idea of having a kind of like a cloth-like set of tendrils around the body of the demon. And the original pose has quite a nice design to show the mouth, the main body, and some tendrils coming out from behind with the face kind of masked and a hood on it, which I thought was quite cool. And I thought the interesting thing that caught my eye on this one, this demon doesn't actually appear to have any arms. It's kind of like got the shoulder joints so that the tendrils can give the appearance of a kind of like a cape going down when it's closed. But other than that, it had no arms, so it was kind of like a mouth on the stomach and the tendrils do all the work. With that said, that kind of led me into tendrils sticking out, arms out of the back, and as we all know in Marvel, we've got Doc Ock or Spider-Man on the Iron Spider suit. So I kind of wanted something with the tendrils, and then in the end I decided to have something where the body's kind of in the air, hanging there as it's coming towards its victim with the tendrils out, wrapping around as well as being able to walk on them, just to add more height and an imposing nature. Because of the bat sonar, the supersonic sounds, I decided that behind it, not only will have movement lines, but it'd almost be like a ring effect coming out. So it's similar to a sonar effect, as if you could see the sound waves in an illustration coming out, but also the speed of it coming towards you. For the mouth on the kind of like chest, the stomach area, I decided to add a few of the teeth outside as if part of it opened up and it was ready to kind of like pull or gnaw, or it's moving with hunger, wanting its victim or its prey. And for the main aspect of this, I wanted to keep the lighting in the center. So the main center concept has the lighting, and on the outside, it kind of gets darker as it goes round. I really enjoyed doing this one on the pose. The color scheme for this, I went with more of a reddish color for the shadows. I wanted to kind of emphasize a bit more of the darkness on the color wheel, but also I went with the opposite color to the main body to just give that little bit of a extra push on where the shadows and everything are. All in all, this was an awesome demon and an awesome concept, and I hope you guys enjoyed how this one turned out. Now for the details for the March 2024 community redraw, which you're all waiting for. I know I've had this one before, but I want you to create your own fake mon. Include a body shot, the type and abilities, the name, and a bit of lore about it. If there's a particular way of saying the name, please include that. The submission deadline is March the 22nd, and you can submit your entries to redraws@DempseyJ-illustrations.co.uk or via the Discord in the redraw submissions channel bit. And just as a note, the March 2024 redraw will be dropping on the 1st of April due to a collab video coming out on the 29th of March. And if you want to see more content from the channel,